Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is James. I'm continuing on with this Balsa USA Smoothie 40 build. Hope everything is nice out there in RC land. So in this video, I'm going to be continuing on with the wing, and mainly I'm going to be putting in the central rib sections that go in here, and then be moving on to the sheeting. And after we get the sheeting done, I'll be moving on to the wing tips. I'm not sure I'll be able to get the wing tips done in this video. We'll see how we do. But for right now, I want to concentrate on these center ribs. Okay, so one thing to keep in mind, and I mentioned this before, is that this is an older kit. It was originally designed back like in the 1970s. So the current instructions are sort of post-date the actual plans that I build on. And even the parts in the wood kit, those even post-date the actual instructions. Everything's okay. It's just that there are some things to keep that I need to keep an eye on. For example, if you look at the ribs, it's hard to see from the pictures, but if you look at the ribs in the instructions, you'll notice that they're all sort of solid. So I think some of the laser, and actually these holes that you see in the center ribs that are here in the instructions, those are supposed to be drilled in based on this instruction set. But the plan, or mainly, I mean the kit, came with a bunch of holes already kind of laser cut for you, which is nice. So anyhow, there's no big deal about that, but I do need to address it for this piece right here, which is this front piece that's going to go right up in here. All right, so let's grab the instructions here and take a look at something. Oh, there goes the dog. So the next step is there is this dowel that's going to be used to basically hold the, it's going to go through here, and it's going to be what plugs into the fuselage to hold the front of the wing onto the airplane. And in these instructions, you see that they basically have it's a solid piece of rib that the dowel, what you do is you channel cut the dowel. You channel cut a space for the dowel, and then you put the dowel in there, and then you use scrap wood like this right here. You use scrap wood, and it's kind of hard to see in the picture, to basically sandwich this assembly. And by doing so, if I take I'm going to throw it on here real quick. I got a couple pieces of scrap wood. These are going to be shaped, obviously. By doing this, you'll end up with a nice sort of like a sandwich that then the dowel is going to be coming straight out here. So this kind of holds the dowel in nice and strong. So what I wanted to look at here was the fact that this center rib here has a big laser cut hole in the middle of it. So what's going to happen is I'm going to put this dowel in here, right? Like this, for example. It's going to be cut, and then I'm going to stick. It doesn't really tell you how far in the plans or the instructions doesn't really tell you how far to set that dowel back, but you can eyeball it based on the photograph or the picture. So it will extend back into that hole. I don't like that. So what I'm going to do is, because I kept all my little pieces, I'm going to plug these back in here like this. I'll go ahead and glue those in there, and then I'll go ahead and cut the channel for the dowel like that. And just by kind of putting this back here, they'll just give me that extra support, sort of like for the original kit or the original plans show it like this. So I just like that better. So that's what I'm going to do. This is an easy little, I guess it's a modification, but it's just a little extra. All right. So I guess I'm not keen on the fact that the entire wing is held on with this little dowel, but I'm going to go ahead and go with it. That's the way the plan has it. So I'll go ahead and do it and not worry about it, I guess. So let's go ahead and I'm going to put these, let me move my coffee. Let's go ahead and put this stuff in here. Actually, what I'm going to do, like that. Then I'll put this in here, CA. have a gap in there, so I may put some gap filling CA in there also. Just soak this. All right, I'll go ahead and put a little bit of gap filler in here. I'm getting low on this stuff. I'm gonna have to go buy me some more. Right around the edge here. Fill that in. I could use my baking soda also to fill that in, but I think this will be fine for this. Okay, well, this is actually a nice opportunity to go ahead and do some gap filling, kind of show that with the baking soda method. So I'm just gonna put it around here. Fill this guy in. This isn't even going to be seen, so it doesn't have to be fancy. But this is just a good way to demonstrate using the baking soda method to fill in the gap. Like that. And I'll do this side too. Oops. Okay, so this will just set up, and I think that's just basically what I wanted to do. And now I'll go ahead and I'll cut my channel in there for the dowel. Okay, well, before I cut the slot, I'm going to just get my scrap wood and kind of find a good place to put it. And I'm going to go ahead and trace this guy on here like this. I noticed that this actual step right here must have post-dated the original build, because it's not on doesn't show it on the plans. So like I said, this kit has a long history and has a couple different probably generations of maybe developing the plans or developing the kit. I don't know. Put this just like this. You know what I should do? Might as well use the back of this as a. I don't need to go all the way to the back. There we go. All right, so this will be the piece that I cut out. And this one, I'm going to redo this one also. I'm going to go ahead and do about the same here. All right, so what I decided to do is, since I have these are two identical pieces, instead of cutting two, I'm just going to go ahead and line these things up and put it in the vise like this. Not too snug. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut it with a hacksaw. I do have my my coping saw, but the blade broke on it, so I need to go buy myself some new blades. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this smaller kind of hacksaw with the fine blade on it. And I'll just go ahead and I'll cut this out, cut the pattern out, and then I come back and sand it and make it fit right. Let's see here. I'm going to cut a little bit bigger. Then I can always sand it. All right, well that was a little bit awkward, but I thought that was the probably easiest way for me to do it. So, right, so now I have these two pieces that are going to kind of go on the outside here, like that. And I'm gonna have to shape them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and get that slot cut for the dowel, and then glue everything together, and then I'll shape it, and we'll put it here in the front part of the wing. All right, and here again, we're trying to make this piece. If I can show you, we're trying to make this piece like this, and then here you can kind of see what the end product is going to be right here. The dowel doesn't go in yet. The dowel's going to go in last, but you have to go ahead and make this piece before you construct the wing, and then the dowel will go in one of the later steps. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my square, and I'm going to line it up here. Draw my center line of the dowel, sort of like that. I'll use that little apex of that little triangle right here as my center line to start my center line. And it doesn't have to be, it's not going to be perfect, but there we go. Oops, kind of went a little bit. Let me move that over a little bit more. All right, so I'll use that as a guide. All right, so the instructions don't really tell you how deep to put it, but I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to go right into the middle, about the middle of my disc that I put back in. I think that would be fine. Somewhere like that. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and make sure my lines are pretty close here. It wasn't the easiest thing in the world to use that little square I was just using, so I'm just going to kind of eyeball it a little bit better here. All right, somewhere like that. All right, so I'm going to use this steel ruler here. Carefully. This is just balsa, so it doesn't put up a lot of resistance. I do have that CA joint that's kind of tough right there. All right, so that took a little bit of work. I was taking my time and taking just a little bit off the time because I do a little bit off at a time because I do want this to be, you know, snug in here. And but I didn't want to make it so snug that when I put it in, it kind of spread it apart. So what I'll do is I'll put this aside, and then we'll glue on these sort of side pieces like this. And then this guy is going to go in here like that. And that'll be the assembly that holds the dowel in. For this, I'm just going to use some 5-minute epoxy. I don't need a whole lot of working time with this. This way it'll set up kind of quick, and then I can keep moving on it. right, so I got those lined up. I'm going to use sort of the apex or the inside of those corner cuts to get everything lined up along the front. And now I'll just clamp it. And again, you got to be careful when clamping, because things tend to, when you squeeze down on them, they'll have a tendency to glide a little bit. Alright, so I did a couple little adjustments, but should be good to go. And this guy will go in here once we get it set up. So set this aside, let this cure up, and then we come back and shape it and move on. Okay, while this piece sets up here, I can go ahead and get this back rib in here. This is going to slide right inside here. And it's a tight fit. I think we're okay. There we go. Okay, just going to go just like that. And then what I'll do is I'll line. I can use the kind of the joint right here. I drew a line right here, basically where that joint is. I can see that also. Same thing on the bottom. So I'll use those features to help line it up correctly. All right, so 5-minute epoxy again. Okay. Now I just need to go ahead and eyeball it and make sure it's in the right location. So I have that lined up there, have it lined up here. You flip it back around. Oop. Okay. All right, looking pretty good. All right, so we'll go ahead and let this sit up here, let this set, and then when we come back, when everything's cured up, I can put this front rib assembly in. All right, so my watch says it's been about an hour, so it's time to, I can take this clamps off of here, and now I can go ahead and shape this to fit. I'm gonna trim that. I'm gonna try my X-Acto. Okay, so I think this looks pretty good. It's nicely shaped now. This piece will fit in here like this. Of course, obviously it's going to be cut. So what will happen is this is going to plug into here, and then the hole will be drilled from the leading edge so I can put that dowel in later at a later step. So this guy should fit, hopefully, in here. Should be able to plug this in here. Here goes the dog. There we go, like that. All right, so now it's time to go ahead and epoxy that in. All right, so the center rib sections are now in place. So what's going to happen is when I come back and put sheeting over this and then finish up the leading edge, one of the final steps is going to be to drill out this hole in here after the fuselage is built, and this dowel then is going to slide into that slot and get epoxied in, and that's what's going to hold the wing on. Alright, so I think that's going to be about it for this video. I was going to try to do some sheeting and maybe get to the wingtips, but I think the video is getting to be a little bit too long. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. So next time we'll start with the sheeting and get to the wingtips and keep moving along. Alright, so thanks for watching my channel. I appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.